Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Charizard in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So, this one gave me a think about the history of Pokemon, comparing Gen 8 Charizard to traditional Gen 4 Charizard, and it made me feel like there was some kind of grand conspiracy to keep one of the original, most popular Pokemon absolutely busted in modern Pokemon. Because Mega Charizard being able to split into X and Y and being very powerful in both forms, one of the better Megas, if not one of the best Megas, especially Charizard X, because it shows up, it goes Dragon Dance, and there's nothing you can do about it. But then, you think about Dynamax. Why does Airstream give +1 speed? Why does Fire set Sun? And why does Charizard receive, like, giga benefits from all of that, and then become an incredible sweeper from it? We go all the way back to Gen 4, and Charizard's back to having nothing. Let's go and break this bad boy down. So yeah, it's like, here's what we got, 100 speed. Now, I've been saying that 100 speed is a good place to be again, and we can see back in Gen 4, this was kind of like the standard. You had 100 speed, and you were doing alright as a sweeper, gives you some options, 109 special attack, so once again, also just like breaking through 100 on an offensive, pretty good. And then we can also realize why Megas tune the speed so hard and try to make Pokemon viable sweepers. But what do you do with this? You get Life Orb, 100 speed, maybe get outsped, maybe you don't, maybe you get some damage down, but you're not one-shotting things anymore. We're not in Rocket Tag Charizard land. Air Slash does some damage, maybe flinches them. Flamethrower, it's got some stab, but 109 Flamethrower, even Life Orb, not the most insane thing. And then some kind of coverage here. I have Ancient Power, that way you can hit other Charizards or Gyarados. And if you get the +1, hey, now we're talking. But then you're taking Life Orb Burn and other things get kind of weird. Blaze, if it activates, cool. Solar Power, do you keep this in here just in case the opponent is going for some kind of Sun Team and you leech off of it? At that point though, they got Chlorophyll, they outspeed you, and I don't think you really feel the Solar Power too much. Or do you build Solar Power for yourself? Who knows? This is just kind of like the most base of Charizard. And there's also a lot of like tank and stall and anti-stall. So if you get in a situation where they can't really hurt you through your typing, then you want to get that roost to kind of offset the Life Orb damage and also anything they're trying to do to you. So if you get this through, like you are what you are. You are a 100 speed, just over 109 special attack Pokemon. And you're going to try to chip them down, and maybe you find a 2-hit KO on stab, or maybe something comes through for you. Not really that crazy, but we also have Dragon Dance. So Dragon Dance Charizard, what does that do? Roughly the same thing, but it still runs into problems, because now we have an 84 attack Pokemon that's only getting +1. Now, it becomes super fast. Like a 100 speed Pokemon getting the +1 speed, that's going to be nuts. However, Garchomp exists, and Garchomp just sits at that 102 speed, making all of your work null and void. So that can be problematic. The Flare Blitz, now that's devastating. +1 kind of anything on that Flare Blitz, 120 base power, is going to hurt. But Dragon Dance, while you're taking a hit on that setup, Flare Blitz recoil, Life Orb recoil, you might just get 1 KO, Dragon Dance, Flare Blitz, and then go down to your own Life Orb. But if Blaze is active, that's kind of cool. So yeah, you don't really get to do much with that. Wait a second. We lost Blaze Kick. That leaves us with Fire Punch. We lost Fire Punch. That leaves us with Fire Fang. Oh dear lord. And that brings us to the type coverage checker, where I learned something interesting. I didn't know Fire Dragon was so good. Now it makes sense because Dragon just hits neutral or super effective onto the things that resist fire, but I didn't think, like, in Generation 8, only 8 resistances. Well, 2 of those are just illegal because mythical, the other one's a Mega, and that leaves us with Primarina, Tapu Fini, Carbink, and Azumarill. Azumarill is the only one in Gen 4 here, and even if we're talking about Gen 8, Tapu Fini, Primarina being the only threats of this, not really that bad. So now we're going to be fishing for super effective hits, because that's the problem with the Fire Dragon. It doesn't give us a lot of supers. We add Crunch, we go up to 450, and then we add the Ground, 551. Alright, I think that gives us our answer, because we go Fighting, 524, Rock, 495, Ghost, 462, yeah, and when you go to the ground, oh, perfect coverage? What, really? in modern Pokemon. Alright then. So, it's a thing, and this is why, yeah, you add in the Earthquake, you got something like that, but you still have, like, again, the Life Orb Dragon Dance becomes a big liability. However, if you, like, hang in that Blaze range, you still get some damage back, but it's not, like, the craziest, most threatening Pokemon until you get 2 Dragon Dances. Because then at that point, it doesn't matter who you are. A Pokemon that's now threatening 2 Dragon Dances is very spooky, and you have taken too long committing to a setup that is now destined to fail, as Charizard is going to run in and wreck you. But Dragon Claw, not going to be stab boosted, and again, the Fire Fang base power is so low that, oh my god, Fire Fang, same type attack boost, puts you under Earthquake neutral. Maybe even at the +2, it's not that scary, and that's still the problem with Charizard. Yeah, and then speed tiers also get weird with like the 100 speed at +2 and stuff. Yeah, so the idea is you trade Dragon Dances into another Pokemon, and you really, really hope they don't have Rock Slide. Now, Gyarados is just a straight-up losing battle, but I was thinking like, okay, Salamence. Most of the time, it doesn't have Rock Slide, so that's when you can hit with the Dragon Claw. That's when we're also looking at like Dragonite shenanigans, so maybe, but then it's got the multi-scale, and you're still gonna be feeling pretty bad, so the Dragon Dance isn't as good without the Charizard X, the special side of things isn't as good without the Charizard Y, you really need all the free stats that come from Dynamaxing Charizard. Okay, so what else can Charizard do? Well, it has Solar Power as an ability, so maybe if we run some kind of Sun team, we can put just enough power into the Charizard to make it work, and maybe just sacrifice Heat Rock, Drought, Ninetales. You come in, you overheat, you try to hurt things, then you got some options to cover from there. This isn't like, oh man, look at this Ninetales go and sweep. If it Will-O-Wisps something important, that's going to be very powerful on top of bringing the Drought. Solar Beam means water and ground type Pokemon don't completely destroy you, and if while you're trying to set up, the opponent tries to get cheeky with setup, if you just catch them on a Roar, Roar is one of the most powerful things in modern Pokemon because we have kind of gradually shifted to a setup meta, and now everyone's anti-setup and everything's a complete mess. So I mean, like, this is just here to like get Ninetales to do slight, like it's a 0.9 for 1, but then you get a couple of turns for Sun for Charizard. However, I don't know what to do from here, because my first idea was like, yo, Focus Sash. This gives you the opportunity to switch in, this gives you the opportunity to trade with opponents. Wait a second, you lose hit points from the Solar Power. Oh man, it is a really hard life without that Dynamax, isn't it? So you can't really trade or do anything with the Focus Sash. I'm like, Citrus Berry to kind of offset Solar Power and maybe get yourself a switch in, but I mean, like, you're still pretty frail, and I don't think the Life Orb works, because then it becomes the same issue as like the Life Orb Flare Blitz from this moveset over here, because you go Life Orb Solar Power once, you take the hit, and then you're just KO'd. But I don't think that completely ruins Sun for Charizard, because Charizard is still going to be really powerful with that Focus Sash Blaze. But if we're doing Focus Sash Blaze, then we could maybe give up some coverage and go Endure Berry, and then find stats and still have like Blaze active and stuff. So I mean, like, Endure plus starter Pokemon, you might be tired of it because we're covering all the starter Pokemon first for Brilliant Diamond Shine Pearl, but because of that ability, it's something viable. Now, is it viable in Charizard? I don't know. Do you just try to, like, the problem is there's so much risk. A third of your team is locked on that 100 base speed, and then you don't have as many options to deal with sweepers, and all that setup can be just outdone if there are sweepers, and you only have 4 Pokemon to play around with to posture against their sweepers. It seems like a lot of dedication for the Charizard that doesn't really quite get you there compared to some other Pokemon or just other Charizards in other generations. But I mean, it is cool if it works, and then you like get to trade and do some things, but you know, that's the thing. Also, I didn't talk about the Heat Wave. I don't find it worth it to add very, very little damage for that accuracy cut. You just lose the game on that Heat Wave. And I don't think there's really any damage calculation where this actually matters. So, yeah, like, you just try to get Charizard there. It's more powerful in Sun, but something happens. Like, Sun into Scarf, though. Now we can talk about Choice Scarf Charizard. So, 109 offense Scarfed. I mean, at that point, it doesn't sound as, like, that awful, except for the base power. Because the thing about Garchomp's only a 130 attack Pokemon using a 100 base power move when it's going for like Jolly Earthquake. So I mean, the damage in theory doesn't sound too far off, but it ends up being pretty far off. And the thing about Garchomp is that it just has natural pseudo-legendary stats, so it's going to survive something that isn't super effective against it, and even some super effective hits like a Togekiss would, and then it's just going to wreck you and go 1+ or something like that. So yeah, like you come in on the Choice Scarf. Fire Blast is mostly there for that option, like I need this damage for the KO, and I've been making this reference a lot. I guess we're just kind of stuck on it, but it makes sense as a philosophy. The 15% chance to miss and lose beats out the 100% chance to not have it and lose. Also, like for the coverage, what else you're going to put here? You're not running Sun, so you don't want the Solar Beam. Being scarfed into the Ancient Power means even if you do get the stats, it means nothing. And then we don't have any other options. So there we go, Flamethrower, Dragon Pulse stuff. Pretty much like you outspeed, you hope they can't KO on 78, because that was at least a thing. When we had the Garchomp here, like you survive Choice Scarf Outrage. So, like, some things you just live, as long as it's not like super nuts. And slightly better on that special defense. So as we've shown, like some Pokemon, they can only break down like 75 hit point special defense. So Charizard survives those. You get the outspeed, 2-tap them on a Flamethrower, and then you can either switch out Charizard to save it for the late game cleanup, or you just throw out that other Flamethrower. 1+ Pokemon, that's eventually how you win games. Also the Blaze. Like you take just enough of a hit to barely survive, Blaze activates, boom. Now this is where things get very important for Charizard, because Stealth Rocks is a thing. I'm personally against Stealth Rock. I feel like it's a noob trap unless used in very specific circumstances, but like 95% of people are using it incorrectly and just giving the opponent free wins. But here's something you need to note. Stealth Rock will do half your health, so you want to make sure that you're not doing that. You do that, and you lose. You do this, you don't take half your health. So that's where we put in the extra points. Also going to be the same on the level 100. So that's like one of those weird considerations that sometimes you have to be aware of in the game. Like efficient leftovers by making your hit points divisible by 16 and then not wasting any stats. And also like weird things with the substitute and making sure you have uneven hit points in that situation. So same thing for Charizard. However, it works across the board at level 50 or level 100. So don't put 4 into hit points ever on the Charizard, and then you're going to be having a decent time. Now, I don't know if there's a world where you want to strategically eat 2 Stealth Rocks on the Charizard, survive at 1 hit points, and then have Blaze Scarf Flamethrower. I doubt it, but it's something to keep in mind, because maybe you bait out a hit from the opponent. Like, you know, you manually switch in Charizard on the Revenge, it gets murdered, but then you switch out into another Pokemon, you bait the weak hit, that Pokemon goes for some setup or momentum, then next time Charizard comes in, it's stronger, and then maybe, just maybe, all the opponent's Pokemon are like under 70% health, and they don't resist the Flamethrower, so you just pick them up because of Blaze? Pokemon is a weird game. Instead of Choice Scarf, there's also the idea behind Choice Specs. There's also the idea behind like Adamant Dragon Dance, because you need +2 anyways, and +2 100 starts getting too messy to even matter, so you're going to want that Adamant damage getting boosted hard if you're doing things like this, since your attack is so low. And then there's Belly Drum Charizard. It's a thing, it's big funny, but I don't see a world where it works, because we don't have Charizard X's stats that allow us to get away with those shenanigans, and you just want to be Dragon Dancing anyways, and at the end of the day, you're 100 speed. So I mean, you put yourself at half, and then like Aqua Jet's KOing you and stuff. That's not ideal. Anything that outspeeds you, also not really super ideal, unless you want to get existential with it. Endure. Salac Berry. You want +1 on that 100 speed? Yeah, like at that point, Adamant doesn't matter because you are max. I mean, like, this runs into town. Okay, that's kind of spooky, but then at the end of the day, we're like, Fire Fang. That's not great. We'll do the damage calculation. Like, I don't have that up. I was just like, oh yeah, that's right, we do have the Fire Fang. And then like, Fire Fang Earthquake, so type coverage, calculator, Gyarados. Still big yikes. I mean, Gyarados is going to be yikes pretty much no matter what. The Dragon Claw is like something to do, and then yeah, so what do we got here? We got Fire Fang, and then we got Dragon Claw. But I mean, at +6, your ×4 attack, you still want the damage. However, we already talked about, like, yeah, Fire Fang just loses out to, like, Earthquake in the raw damage. So, funny numbers, guys. Funny numbers. So, that Is this what you want to live with? Just getting completely walled out by a Togekiss or a Shedinja? Skarmory you can't do anything to, so looks like you do need the fire. Because that would be really bad if you actually accomplish this. Like, this isn't the hardest thing to pull off. And I guess if Blaze activates because you're at 1. Okay, never mind. Fire Fang has it. Not ideal. But Fire Fang doesn't have it. Because, like, the Blaze pulls the damage up. And then you get the stab. And now all the numbers make sense. You gotta be kidding me. A +6 Dragon Claw doesn't KO Dragonite on that multi-scale. Okay, but then we go to the Adamant, and we still have the outspeed. And that means we also have the outspeed over 81 base speeds at the +1. Now, ignore the extreme speed. And actually, extreme speed's kind of risk on Dragonite right now because you want to have as much coverage and damage as possible, but you will eventually run into priority and stuff. But the Adamant still doesn't secure it and, like, hard lock it. I don't know. Numbers end up getting weird. We do lose out to 90 speed Pokemon, but there are like 90 Scarfs out there. Who even knows? Pretty much the Adamant still like kind of clutches it for anything we need on that +1 speed. And then I'm trying to think about Pokemon that are going to be tanky, but you need to one-shot. So here at the +6, at least you get to break down other Pokemon. So the Fire Fang at the 1 hit points, with all those things kicking in that we talked about, it finds it against the max health, defense, Snorlax. The special defense nature is just optimal. Sometimes you find the impish nature. It's most likely a KO. Skarmory. Now here's where also like things kind of get spooky, where it's like, yep, Rocky Helmet is going to KO you. Don't worry, Garchomp outspeeds you, so you don't even have a chance regardless. And yeah, we get it, because like that's level 100, level 50, super effective. So it's one of those things where you find the setup. It's not hard to correctly fish for a turn, and then the Endure Salac Berry just kind of puts you where you need to. And the thing is, you can save the Endure until a fast Pokemon shows up. So what you do is you somehow get away with the Belly Drum, you KO the Pokemon in front of you, they bring in a fast revenge Pokemon. That's when you show the Endure, when you know that attack is guaranteed, instead of maybe something weird happening, like a Thunder Wave or some stray status as you're trying to like endure it, then the Endure fails, and then you're really in trouble. So yeah, that's going to be the Charizard. It does have the thing, like, physical fire attackers can't get Will-O-Wisp, so they hold on to their attack boost, which feels pretty good. And maybe this catches onto something and does some surprising things. But at the same time, you're still going to, like, run into big issues and problems. We saw that the Dragon Claw, as the stab move, doesn't really make too much of a difference. So yeah, I think the Rock Slide's going to be better. That way you at least have a super hit against the Gyarados. And you don't get the Stone Edge. Rock Tomb is kind of a meme at that point. Yeah, I think this works. This is optimal. This would be funny to just kind of bust out. And again, if you do it right, you can kind of get a high success rate on this, whereas no Charizard moveset has a high success rate in general. So there's a lot going on with this Pokemon. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.